Bruce Campbell from Connex. So I've kind of been dealing in cloud software for 8 or 9 years. I'm the front end of it, not the developer aspect of it. So looking at the implementation, getting the product in place, and we've ended up accidentally and now on purpose really focusing on retail as one of our main focus points. Within the retail environment, we really were looking to create a level of automation. You know, the underlying concept is that, if I can get the clicker working, there we go. The underlying concept is, though, when we're dealing is that a lot about retail and actually delivering stock is actually intuition. So you can forecast and you can try to automate and you can try do whatever you want, but essentially the main component of retail is people actually know what they're doing. They need a way for you to present information to them really quickly, and they need to be able to adjust that information on a daily basis really, really quickly. And it's daily. You can't have something that takes a week, you can't have something that takes hours to set up. All of it is just totally impractical. The concept of trying to create minimum and maximum quantities across 9,000 products, say, is one of my main companies. Within the retail environment, it's just crazy. It's just not practical. So you have this kind of the tug of war. You know, you have the warehousing that's overstressed constantly. Within the environment, they would try to work half on systems, half on paper, 70% on systems, the rest on paper. You had the merchandisers needing to be able to assess what was happening online, what was happening in the shops, how to deal with that really, really quickly. And everything is about speed. If it's not quick enough, not presented fast enough, a computer system is actually useless to it. It has to be very, very quick. So with the shops and online, the biggest issue is that you had 1/3 of the stock in the shops, 2/3 in the warehouse, and in reality the shops did have a view of everything, but online only had a view of what was in the warehouse. So 2/3 of everything that you're dealing with, you can't see. And the tension comes with the merchandisers is, where do you put the stock? Do you put it in the shops? Do you put it in the warehouse? And once you start running low on stock, suddenly you start missing sales opportunities. So when we set out the process, we look to deal with pain points and set some goals in place. So, you know, the pain points were replenishment, reclaim supply, the warehouse operations constantly overloaded. They would hit pieces of paper with stock takes. The merchandiser would scribble all over them. They would go back, they would scan it in, put it on the system, and then they would try then to go through and put live updates of when they were selling, so they could replenish it that night, so the next day it was there within the stores. So they supply almost every second day to the stores. There was, in this particular operation, there's 6 stores. So, you know, the in-stores, they were doing weekly paper stock takes, Excel sheets to manage. So you have the concept of pre-orders or home orders, collection orders, orders in store where they don't have the stock, but they're actually trying to make the sale. So either they say, I'll get it in for you to see it, I'll send it to your home, or pay for it now and I'll get delivered to the shop. Then, in order to manage the paper, you had this excessive communication. You had guys on the phone to the shop, do you have the shoe? How fast can it get you? Just going on and on and on, and just ended up taking a huge amount of time. And pre-orders, collection orders, home orders is actually a really big revenue stream if it can be simplified massively. So the goals was to have 100% stock availability across the whole organization, automated and semi-automated processes for routing and for actually sourcing product. We looked at 99% stock accuracy. We wanted it to be 100% paperless, no paper required, and we were looking for, same as paperless, but every function to actually be on the system. So the challenges, you know, this client has in Bluewater, is one of the biggest malls in the UK, and Westfield. They have big shops there. Connectivity is terrible. really terrible. Data integrity, your stock takes had to be perfect, otherwise the whole system just fell over. And we found that when we were going back and pulling data back, and there was a slight connection problem, the operator would think that they were getting the right information, but actually it wasn't right, especially with stock takes. We couldn't get the stock taking to work effectively. So this is the old format. This is when you sit and you get into a retail environment and deal with size and colors, this is what people create. And people do not want to let go of this chart for anything. But when you get into actually using IT, this chart is useless. It's absolutely useless. Computers, it means nothing to them at the end of the day. So what we did is we basically removed this whole concept. We templated and automated, and so that it looked like this once everything was connected together. So the features in Odoo that we used that were really powerful was the POS, obviously, eCommerce, the inventory. The key to all of it was routing. If we could get the routing right, we would win the battle. And we would also have to make sure that the stock accuracy was near to as 100% as we could get it. Obviously, we used for the e-commerce, we had the sales. We needed to create some rules around house sales, how to source the products, and then the general content management system. Creating content, putting out the right information and stuff into place. So this is what we ended up creating. So we had the operations on one side, with sales on the other. We needed to create automated routing in order to achieve the operational goals that we had. And we needed to do automated sourcing within the system so that everyone could actually do their job really simply, really effectively, really easily. And we had to do it with lowering stress. It's a real crazy environment, retail. People are constantly stressed. The truck is leaving at that time. Need to get the stock there today. And it's not a stress that abates, because you wake up in the morning and it's tomorrow, it goes again and again and again and again. So we basically created a series of managers for operations, which I'll touch on for you. It's a warehouse manager, a reclaim manager. So it's reclaim, you need to reclaim stuff from the shops really effectively. You need to be able to reorder really effectively, supply new stock really effectively. We created something to help manage the rules, which I'll touch on. Now we had to revamp the stock take to make sure that the accuracy was perfect every single time. Within the POS environments, we looked at creating different types of POS orders. We needed also, guys, to be able to, if the system automatically created a rule or a system of routing, they needed to be able to really quickly go into the back end and to be able to change it. So we did that. We needed the real-time stock checking from the stores. With the POS system, a lot of it you download, but actually that's only a little piece of the stock that's out there. So if it went offline, it had the ability to see what it had locally, but when it was online, it needed a view of everything that was available. So we're looking at 100% visibility. And 100% visibility had to be for the shops and for online, and it had to automate. There was no ways that you can run the system from the back end. So what we did with the routing is we took the Odoo function. Actually, the first time we did it, we really tried to hack a little bit around the Odoo function, and it actually failed. So we actually went back. We spent hundreds of hours actually re-going through, actually really understanding how the Odoo function worked, and then really being sensitive to our design around it. And we ended up with a really effective system at the end of the day. So with automated routing, anything could be ordered from anywhere within the company. So you could order in any shop, and it would automatically go and find where the product was available. If it was online didn't know the difference. It just saw all of the stock. When you placed the order, at that point, the system would go and source the stock because it knew the stock was available, and it would go and look for it. Okay, so this is just some of the managers and sections that we put in place. I'll touch on the warehouse manager. We also did a mass reclaim. You know, when variants are getting low, in reality, what you need to be able to do is you need to be able to pull the stock back out of the shop really quickly. We needed to generally do it the day before, so we pull it out the day before, so we use that for it. Sometimes stock, one item gets lost. So what we did, we looked at the templating environment and we created templates for which stock, for how to replenish the stock, and we allowed multiple templates. So templates that were based on sizes, templates for the stores, templates, and we created a priority around those templates. We also created a rule manager, which basically meant that if you ended up creating your reorder rules and there was 2 products and 4 rules, all it would do is present to the merchandiser really quickly. These are the 4, you'd have demand for 4, you have 2 that are needed, or the other way around, 2 in supply but 4 wanted. Who do you want to give it to? Very quickly they could delete the rules. They just delete the rules that they don't need for that day. So from there we created a model manager which allowed them to, if they wanted, it hardly ever gets used, they can go in and independently actually adjust every single product at the end of the day. Or the demands for the product we did, and those we just did. All of this here was actually managing stock within the environment. So the center point of what we did was what we called a warehouse. We call the warehouse manager. So it essentially, it's very hard to present it well on a slide. So what we did, is we divided all the products up into models. And with the models, in the models, that means we could pull all the colors, because all the products were product. Even the colors were products, and then all the sizes were variants. We grouped those together into models, and we were able to manage those models if you needed to automatically. But what the model manager, what this would do is every morning you click setup, it deletes all 12,000 rules every single day. It deletes all the models that it created the day before. It checks exactly what stock is available within the stores, and then automatically it goes and it recreates the rules it doesn't create the rules as yet, but it creates placeholders for the rules in order to resupply all of those shops. So all of it is built instantaneously, but it takes about 30 minutes for it to run. So it runs for 30 minutes, goes through, checks all the stock, and presents this dashboard. So this dashboard, instead of looking at that little chart that we saw in the beginning, basically tells them if they want it, this is the model it relates to, the product that it relates to, tells them how many variants they got, if it belongs to men or women, it tells them what their online sales were, tells them what their past sales were, tells them what their current stock is, and it tells them in which warehouses that it's going to resupply. So this, I can actually use got a little pointer. So this over here, it says these are the warehouses going to the resupply, and over here is a column to reclaim. So the whole merchandising experience, and this one, these sometimes you're managing up to you can be managing up to 10 or 15 products in one line of data. What it does is all the merchandiser has to do is click on if they want to change the line. So first and foremost, you might not want to do anything at all. You would click on a line if my mouse wants to work. Oh, there it is. I can't see it on the screen. If the internet would be nice. Let's jump in there. The mouse and the stick are just battling each other. Just one sec. There we go. not wanting to go through. So I just need to show you our system. They've knocked each other out. Okay. So basically, when you click in here, you have there's only two functions that you have to do. You reclaim. If you put any of the warehouses in the reclaim, it will go and recollect all of the stock for that particular model. If you want to send something out, all you have to do is add it. So literally it's a two-step function. You either add a warehouse, or if you reclaim, and if you reclaim, it automatically removes it out of the warehouse. So at the moment, this operation internally used to take 2 to 2.5 days. And we've brought the whole operation down. They're working within, sometimes if it's running smoothly, half an hour in a day. If it's a busy period, it can take a little bit longer. So this whole operation, and it was really interesting because the lady that dealt with it was extremely experienced and had to go on maternity leave. So she was able to leave and the company didn't feel it at all. We have enough time? 4 minutes left. Okay, let's be able to it. All right. Okay, so we'll go through that. This was the Reclaim Manager, just to be able to manage the product versus the amount of rules there are. Because the rules are deleted every day, it doesn't matter. Just delete the rules you don't need for the day, and then it will automatically recreate them tomorrow. So the next thing that we did, so that's basically solved the routing issue. We could move a product from anywhere to anywhere without any difficulty at all. So, and we did that by just obeying 3 rules. We fulfill all orders online in the warehouse first. If not in the warehouse, we try to complete the whole warehouse order in the store. If that's not possible, we route all products back to the warehouse for fulfillment, and all of that happens automatically. So this is the POS dashboard as it's been adjusted. So within that environment, they can order through this, they can sell it in the store. They can do a home delivery that's fulfilled in the store, or they can actually push that, and the system will automatically go back to the rules, track the item or items, and actually supply it back to the customer for home delivery. Now, sometimes you have a little thing where the little shoe is scuffed locally. And what you need to do is you need to leave yourself out of the equation. The customer doesn't want that pair of shoes because they feel it's been tried on. So click a little box that excludes your store from the equation, and it'll go find it elsewhere. So in here, they're able to move pre-orders around. So this is the screen. You've got no stock locally. You can do a home order, collection order, pre-order. The pre-order is also the only area within the system that's totally protected. If you do a pre-order, the shoe will not be visible to anyone else. This is the sales screen. So here we've added in all the different warehouses, where it's going to be supplied from, where the order is going to be fulfilled from. Basically, this takes us to the whole system working. This is where we ended up getting to. So we found that in the 16-week period we ran it, we managed to fulfill 806 orders directly from the stores. All of the tension that the merchandiser had, I had to put stock here, I had to put stock there, was no issue. When we ran July sales, everything was sent to the shops. We didn't have to protect any stock online, and they would still be able to perform all the orders. They had one of their online sales emails go through. 34% of the whole weekend's orders was fulfilled through the shops, the stock that was in the shops from the sales that weekend. So, and it was instant, it worked really well, and everything falls into Odoo's normal warehousing blocked pattern, receiving, sending, etc., etc. And over here, these were the home orders, pre-orders, and collection orders that were all done on paper and telephones and all of that, all gone. In the period, 436 orders were managed directly by the system. So, on average, the merchandiser saved 36 hours a week. That was just half of what we did. It meant the merchandiser could actually focus on getting the product in rather than how the product actually gets laid out in the stores. And what's missing on this screen, because I don't exactly know how to quantify it, is the fact that we have a big portion, which is rule number 3, which is basically if there's no stock, if they don't have all the product in the warehouse, they don't have all the product in the shop, but the product is available through the company, then the system automatically routes it all back to the warehouse. They get a little pop-up on, like the POS system gets a little pop-up on the dashboard, says please pick one item, and then they pick it, if it's able, and then they'll route it to go back out to the warehouse. Thank you very much. Yeah.